This World Cup did not just get bigger. It got structurally different in a way that has never happened before in the history of the tournament. For the first time since 1998, FIFA redesigned the entire format, expanding from 32 teams to 48. Pushing the total match count from 64 all the way to 104. That is not a small tweak. That is basically adding an entire extra tournament's worth of football. Here is how it actually works. The 48 teams are split into 12 groups, lettered A through L, with 4 teams in each group. Every team plays the other 3 sides in its group once. In theory, that sounds almost identical to the old format. In practice, what happens after the groups is where everything changes. Instead of the usual 16 teams advancing into the first knockout round, this time 32 teams make it through. The top 2 teams from each group advance automatically, and then the 8 best third-place teams also sneak through. Let that sink in. You can finish third in your group, with maybe just 1 win to your name, and still be alive at a World Cup. This sounds like it should make the tournament softer. It does not. A team now needs to win up to 7 matches to actually become champion, 1 more than was ever required under the old format. So yes, more teams get in. But the road to actually winning the thing got longer, not easier. Whether you like it or not, that is a brutal trade-off for the favorites. You might be wondering why FIFA did not just go with smaller, simpler groups of 3 teams each. Here is where it gets interesting. FIFA's own tournament statement flagged a real collusion risk in 3-team groups. 2 teams aware of exactly what score they each needed in the final match could quietly engineer a convenient result. FIFA had also watched the chaos that played out at the end of the group phase in Qatar and decided 4-team groups were simply safer. So the extra knockout round everyone is dealing with right now exists specifically because FIFA wanted to avoid handing teams an easy way to fix a result. Now here is the part that actually explains the craze. The expansion handed out far more spots by confederation than before. Africa jumping from 5 to 9 places, Asia going from 4.5 to 8, and CONCACAF rising from 3.5 to 6. That is entire regions of the football world suddenly getting access to a stage they were mostly locked out of before. You know, the type of country that used to watch World Cups from the outside. Now some of them are actually playing in it. Look at who is in this tournament right now because of that shift. Nations like Uzbekistan and Curaçao are at a World Cup for reasons directly tied to this expansion. Cape Verde, a nation of roughly 500,000 people, just held the reigning European champions to a scoreless draw. That is not a fluke the old 32-team format would have reliably produced. That is the direct result of more doors being opened to more football nations than ever before. This is also why the energy around this tournament feels different from every previous one. It is not just American excitement about hosting, or Messi and Ronaldo chasing their last World Cups together. It is millions of fans in countries that almost never got a World Cup team to call their own, suddenly having one to scream for. More flags in the stadiums. More diaspora communities with something real on the line. More storylines running in parallel. More storylines running in parallel instead of one favorite slowly grinding through an easy bracket. So here is the actual headline underneath all the noise. FIFA expanded this tournament for money, that part is obvious. More matches means more broadcast deals and more ticket sales. But the side effect of that decision turned out to be the thing actually driving the craze. A bigger field did not dilute the World Cup. It multiplied the number of people who have a genuine emotional reason to care about it. The 32-team World Cup gave you a tight, predictable bracket full of usual suspects. This one is messier, longer, and far less predictable. With genuine underdog stories baked directly into the structure instead of happening by accident. That is exactly why it feels louder than every World Cup before it. Subscribe if you want every part of this tournament explained like this: the format, the storylines, and why it all actually matters, not just headlines repeated back to you. You are welcome.